Hello and welcome to the Energy Show, number 114 at that this morning. I am Sylvia Hartmann. I'm the creator of Modern Energy, and I welcome you most wholeheartedly to this special aspect-themed energy show. We are going to have a look at the aspects model, going to perhaps do an exercise or two to connect with some aspects of your own, do some fun things with modern energy. Before we get into that, I would really invite you to subscribe and to like this video to help other people find it in the future that might be interested in such things as who am I? And in fact, who am I is possibly the big question that the young of today have. And they might find it really helpful to begin to understand things from a different perspective, from a better perspective, from a more holistic, more realistic, more loving perspective. I'm going to say a quick good morning to my dear live people who have made it here this morning to join me at the same time, this nexus in time and space that is Sunday morning, 10 a.m. UK. Good morning, dear Ilka and Helen. Hello, Marianne. Fantastic. That's really, really cool. And Simona, good morning. Nata, Marina, Chumazie, and dear Paul. I loved your post, Paul, on Facebook. That was really wonderful. And I thank you in return for your ongoing presence in our, world, in our energy world. Yeah, so how did we end up with the aspects model this morning? I choose the topics for the energy show often according to what has happened in the week. And I've been getting signs for the aspects model. There was a really powerful personal experience that I would love to share with you a little bit later on, to do with the aspects model, that reminded me of how useful it is, how wonderful it is. But what really made it happen was that a couple of days ago, I started making myself a new energy symbol set. And here it is. And this is a very lightweight energy symbol set, so I can dig around in them without actually upsetting the microphone next to it. So this is specially made for Sunday Live, this one. And so I made it and, had the nice symbols on it. But then I decided on the back I would like to have a little mirror man. So my aspect happily sat and cut out loads of little mirror men and decoupaged them onto the backs. And I decided to make a little video for TikTok about that. And I'm just filming it with my mobile phone, and I'm digging around and obviously clearly not focusing on what I'm pulling out. So I pull out two symbols, and both symbols, both times, was the symbol for aspect from the energy symbols. So that then made three. My personal experience and the fact that twice out of a random thing, when I was really not looking at it, I pulled the same symbol, the aspect symbol. So I thought, yes, I think it's time we should talk about some aspects. And I'm looking forward to that. And next to me here, you can see a little friend that's known as the aspect angel. And it's called the aspect angel because it's made out of all of those little triangles, the same symbol as the aspect symbol in the energy symbols. So yeah, I thought he can be here too with us this morning. There we go. Okay, so if you're brand new here and you're wondering what on earth is going on, let me try and give us a brief overview over this whole thing. So I open by saying I am the creator of modern energy. And that means that I am constructing a way of working with the living energy body of real human beings. And the reason I do that is because the energy body is what creates our emotions. When our energy body is down, it sends us bad emotions. And when our energy body is happy, well, it sends us happy emotions. In other words, our emotional states are dependent on the states in our energy body. And out there in the other worlds where people do different things from what I do, and they worry about different things than I do, there's always this big fight over what is the truth, the real truth. And people will, kill each other over this time and time and time and time again. Now, the way I come at it, it is my mission in this lifetime, absolutely 100%, to rescue the poor, mistreated, and neglected energy bodies of humanity. They've just been so badly treated and ignored and neglected. It's terrible. The poor energy bodies. I mean, seriously, every time I tune into that, I could pull my hair out. So I try and be positive about it and ask the question, what can I do to make a change? The first thing is to tell people that they have a living energy body, that it's real. It creates all of their emotions. It's really important. But then I do something else. I pay attention to what brings people's energy bodies down and what raises people's energy bodies up. And so rather than a quest for the truth, see, because I believe that unless we're really, really energy high, we can't see the truth. We can't connect with it. We can't understand it. We can't find it even. So it is my job to raise people's energy up and find ways of doing that. And once their energy high, then they can go off and find their own truth. That's the way I work. And so when I first started working with people, I observed that there are certain things that are done in psychology that are absolutely guaranteed to bring the energy body down. And this is something that we should stop doing, because the more often we bring the energy body down, the more often we bring it to its knees, the more broken, disturbed, chaotic the energy body becomes. So I really don't care that much about truth. I only care about what's good for the energy body and what is bad for the energy body. And so I found this thing called the eye of identity. Who am I? That is like a virus in the systems of humanity, to try and figure out who am I, and trying to answer that with some kind of truth. One thing, you're this one thing. And then I found this one thing, and then I am that one thing, and I can finally stop going insane trying to figure out who I am. And the eye of identity is really interesting, and lots of philosophers have discussed this. But particularly Count Alfred Korzybski, he pointed out that when we say the word I in normal speaking and language, we are confusing ourselves, because we should put some kind of delineator of time on this. So, for example, if I was to tell a story, and I was to tell you that when I was 35 years old, I fell in love for the first time. So that causes instantly complete and utter chaos, even though we're not aware of it. The reason it causes chaos and basically destroys our ability to think logically is because I am not 35 years old. I'm 63. Not only that, everything about me is different from that person I used to be when I was 35 years old. It's completely chaotic to try and talk about this 35-year-old person, self, as I, because I am I here right now. And he had some very complicated ways of, Alfred Korzybski had very complicated ways of languaging around this. But I found a nice, yes, I found a nice solution to this during the investigation into energy events. And that is simply to sort by time. Just sort by time and go one step further, which is to say that I only exist right here, right now, and everything else isn't I. Everything else is either a future aspect or a past aspect. And that, when you do that in conversation, in communication with yourself and with other people, what happens is that this confusion goes away, this chaos goes away. The energy body responds positively to this change in language, this change in thinking. So instead of, if you want to go into therapy and start talking about, when I was 3 years old, I wet my pants, which makes no sense. But the moment we say, when my aspect was 3 years old, and the aspect wet its pants, or her pants, or his pants, or whatever way you choose to language that, then all of a sudden, something interesting happens. Instead of getting distraught and chaotic, people's energy bodies become calmer, much calmer. As they sort of sit, look at their memories across time and space, and out there's that 3-year-old aspect, distraught because they wet their pants in kindergarten or whatever. And something else happens immediately and amazingly. And that is an energy movement where that person's heart goes out to that aspect. Poor little child. So distressed, so distraught. And so instead of feeling ashamed of re-experiencing the pain and the shame of that memory, of sitting here feeling like you're, I don't know, 50 and you're a company director and you are nothing but a 3-year-old pissing their pants, all of this complete insanity goes away. And instead we have a direct pathway to love and connection. And there are so many good things happening with this. In my example with the 50-year-old company director who came up with this during a tapping session back in the day, what happened was not just that his heart went out to the poor aspect and there was a real sense of love flowing from him. He also sat up straighter and he became like a man would become a hero, somebody who sees like a dog being mistreated in the street and he steps in and does something about it. That heroic energy, that protective energy, that caring energy. All of that from that little change in language, in thinking. No, that's not me, that 3-year-old aspect. I am here right now. That was a child back in time and space. And this connection that happens then with that aspect, that love that flows, is just incredibly uplifting to the energy body. And that's even while we were still working with trauma. And everybody wanted to do nothing else in therapy but to find more and more and more aspects that had been mistreated or misunderstood or in some shape or form denigrated or disrespected, God knows. I mean, you can play that game forever. And of course, the psychologists, they do, and they have, and they will continue, I'm sure. But as modern energists, we don't do that because we see no reason to bring the energy body down here and now, because it is here and now that you and I need to take action, that we need to do stuff, that we need to deal with the problems of our incarnation. Here and now, right now, we need to be strong. We need to be strong. And a strong energy system is what makes us strong. Not a strong physical body, not a strong mind, a strong energy system. Yeah, so the aspects model basically says, first of all, that the only I ever is here and now. Anything else is aspects. So I am not making a sandwich for myself tomorrow evening so that it's ready in the fridge when I go to the fridge tomorrow evening. And now I am going into the kitchen to make that sandwich, which really, seriously, if you think about it, is complete madness. It's madness. You can't think straight like that. I am going to make a sandwich for my aspect because I know that tomorrow evening they're going to be tired because they've been at work all day and something special is happening. So I am going to prepare this sandwich for my aspect so that when she comes out of the meeting and she's hungry and tired, she will find that sandwich in the fridge with lots of love from me. And so when that aspect comes into being and she's been caught up in work all day, she's going to the fridge, opening the fridge, and there's the sandwich. There will be a moment when this gratitude flows back energetically to me, who made the sandwich. And that is a powerfully uplifting loop. And just one of the many benefits the aspects model has to offer in the quest for that question, who am I? Well, I'm right here. I'm the presenter of the energy show. I am very, very pleased to be with you this morning. So I would love to invite you, the I that you are, and it shifts forward with every little nanosecond that ticks by. This I moves forward and evolves into the future all the time. Even that's just a wonderful thought, really. I would invite you now to connect with an aspect of your own. And, if you really feel the need, you can connect with a poor old aspect that was traumatized. But I would personally invite you to cut out the middlemen and remember a time when an aspect of you had just amazing fun somewhere. And you get to choose what fun means to you. This could be fun at a party. This could be fun by yourself in nature. This could be fun during a meditation. I have tremendous fun solving puzzles in my work, sort of intellectual fun. But that's okay. And by all means, just if it helps, you can assume the heart position. Take a deep breath in and out and ask your dear energy mind, to remind you of a time in the last few years when you really had as much fun as you can have in this incarnation. Okay. I have now connected with such an aspect. First thing I'd like you to do is to realize this is not you. This is an aspect of you. This is an aspect. And as you sort of remember tune in to that aspect's energy state. You are very welcome from where you sit right now to admire that aspect, to be proud of that aspect, to be wowed by the aspect. Wow! Look at them go. Wow! And just sit here from where you are and observe this aspect of you. What they could do, who they could be, what they were doing. And allow this sense of pride to rise up in you that you would have when perhaps a child or a grandchild or someone you love has accomplished something wonderful. A real sense of, wow, I'm so proud of you. This is so amazing. You've done so, oh wow. This aspect's just wonderful. And you can give it a round of applause if you wish. And send your love and admiration across time and space to that aspect. And sometimes what happens is that the aspect turns around briefly and looks back at you and waves across time and space. And you get a sense that they love you back. That they've been working on your behalf to get you where you are today. Because all aspects do that. They don't just work on their own behalf, they work on behalf of a future aspect. In my example with the sandwich, well, I would rather lie on the couch and watch a movie. Sure. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be selfish. I'm going to go in the kitchen and make a sandwich for the aspect because I know they'll need it tomorrow. Reconnecting to your aspects with love is the first step to get a better sense of who you are. You are not one thing. As your energy states change throughout the day, you can be many things, many people. You can be an angry person. You can be a Karen, as the word goes. And I apologize for any real life Karens hearing this today. It's a word from this time. You can be a saint. You can be a wonderful person. You can be all sorts of things. But, and this is very important, and if we have any younglings, newbies tuning into this who want to find out who they are, you must understand that you can only be one thing at a time. It's very sequential. Like you can't be a demon and an angel at the same time. It's sequential. You may start the day as an angel, and then something happens, you turn into a demon, and you turn back again. That's really important also to understand. I would never expect from any of us to be floating around at +10 all day long. We're human beings. You need to allow yourself the fact that no matter how hard you try and whatever you do, you will get angry, you will get sad, you will get depressed sometimes. And you will also get happy again and laugh again and have a good time again. That's life. It goes up and down. And we'll never stop doing that. Living happily ever after doesn't work. It's just another one of those crazy things. We get probably to live happily ever after we're dead. And our soul has arisen and it's flying in the star fields. And there, indeed, we live eternally and we live happily ever after. But until we get to that point, we just want to live happily and do our very best to achieve this. So I would love to know from you whether you connected with an aspect and whether you could get a real sense, a real feeling, a real emotion of that uplifting that comes from making this connection across time and space with your aspects. Because I certainly did. Brought tears to my eyes, actually, when the aspect turned around and waved at me. And while you're giving me some comments on this topic, I'm going to tell you my personal experience that I was referring to earlier. I am sorting out files and folders. I have created an insanity amount of files and folders over my time on computers since 1993. And I'm trying to sort it out into some kind of cohesion. And I came across this poster from Immotrans Energy Dancing 3 of this happy lady reaching up for the stars. And it was just, I love that poster. I think it's really of that time. It has that lightness and happiness and optimism of that time. And I looked at that and I knew that I could not create such a poster today. I couldn't. But my aspect back then did. She was in the right time, right place, right energy state, right headspace, right place of inspiration. And she created this poster. So that's one thing, immediately one thing. Instead of me having to go, oh, that's a shit poster, in order to not get big-headed or something, what they tell you to do, criticize yourself into the ground to keep you humble. Ugh. I could look at that and absolutely admire the poster and admire the aspect for making the poster. Like you, I said this before, like you feel proud of the achievement of a child. It's that of your child, goddammit, your own child, not just any old child, your child. That level of energy movement. And yeah, I experienced that. And that's why I shared it on social media, because I was like, wow, this is such a cool poster. It's wonderful. And then someone commented on the poster, this is an awesome poster. Right. And here I have learned this wonderful trick to take a compliment and instead of trying to somehow fit this into me, which feels wrong, which feels bad, what I do is I take the compliment and I pass it on to the aspect who created the poster. And I've been doing this quite a bit because I obviously post a lot, and oftentimes people say, this is awesome, this is really cool. And you know, when people say things like that to you about something that you'd made, that an aspect of you made a long time ago, or even just 5 minutes ago, it feels like wrong to say, oh, yeah, thank you, this just feels wrong somehow. When you take the praise and you pass it on to the aspect who actually deserved it at the time, completely different sensation. It's absolutely wonderful. It's just, it feels right. And here we come back to, is this truth or is this true or false? This is not how I measure things. I measure things by whether they work for the energy body, whether they make it happier, stronger, something uplifts us, or whether it is destructive. Because, as I said before, we can't get to the truth in a destroyed, chaotic state, can't find it anyway. So, in order to get people to a place where they can find their truth. So who am I? And there's another fun thing. Who am I? I'm here and now. And in a moment, I'll be a little bit further whilst the Earth spins at crazy speeds and the whole universe galaxy is hurtling through time and space, I'll be I'll be me afresh. Whole new me coming up in a little while, a future aspect of mine. Somehow, when we are stuck in that old who am I insanity, it's an insanity labyrinth from which there is no escape. Every aspect feels entirely responsible for the weight of the entire incarnation. That's a terrible burden of responsibility. But you don't have to shoulder your entire incarnation all alone. You have literally infinite aspects who are sharing this incarnation with you. And if we could get more of them to work together a little bit better, to agree on our hopes and dreams, what we're trying to accomplish, to connect with them in love, that's so important, to connect with them in love. If there were aspects that got us into terrible problems, even there we need to understand why they made the decisions that they made. And whenever I've ever had a person who was like really down on their aspects and, oh, aspects are terrible, the terrible aspect made a terrible decision that led me, and now I'm in a wheelchair and full of poverty and in the street, and it's all the fault of that aspect. Even people like that, when you take them back to that aspect, what that aspect was going through, to really tune in why they made those decisions that they made from states of terrible distress and disturbance, it becomes so difficult to not have your heart go out to those aspects and to not love them, forgive them, whatever you want to call that. And every time that sort of thing happens, the I that has to navigate life sequentially becomes stronger. It's not alone. There are all those other aspects through time and space, and there's the future aspect still to come. And for all of those, we are a nexus. So, who am I? Really should be who are we? We. And we really should be talking about ourselves in the Majestatis Pluralis. Instead of I, we. And we invite you, me and all my aspects, we invite you to try the royal we, speaking on behalf of all your aspects. When you're making your setups for energy meditations, for tapping, journal entries, it's a very interesting thing. All right, let's have a look at the comments. Can't wait to see what people have said. Starting with Alex. My aspect from 2 years ago wanted to do some major building work. He didn't have any prior experience. Some people said the aspect was crazy, but many aspects did it. And I'm proud for my aspects for believing in themselves. That's a wonderful thing. Yeah. You find this, that there's usually with all of these things, there's one aspect who had this original idea, and then the other aspects that came after that rolled up their sleeves and went to work because they believed in the idea, in the aspect. And all of their work together at the end produces this result. So in Alex's example, the building project, the grand design, people come in and say, I congratulate you on this house. You've built a great house. This is amazing. And really, that praise should be going to all the aspects who worked on it, passing it on to where it really belongs, putting some justice back into the universe. Yeah, excellent. Yes, excellent example. Thank you very much, dear Alex. Okay, let's have a look what Helen says. I still feel confusion with how to relate to past selves. Very much work in progress. Your explanation very clarified. My energy system loves clarification. Also good for dealing with the dreaded ego. Oh, definitely. There's so many constructs as from psychology and from religions that are so unhelpful to having a strong, empowered person who can connect with the truth. Whether this is deliberate or whether it's accidental, I wouldn't want to say. But I will say something about past lives, right? I was there when the big past life insanity broke loose in the Western mind, body, spirit things in the 80s. And oh man, everybody was doing it. And I came to the conclusion that when we ask our dear energy mind for a past life, it will create one for us, right? So that's a generator. It's like asking the question, what's wrong with me? There is no definitive answer to this. Every time you ask, your dear energy mind will generate more answers to that question. And also use that generator the other way around and ask yourself every day, what's amazing about me? And it will never stop coming up with new ideas. So the past life game played in the mind, body, spirit scene back then and still to a small degree today, most people got fed up with it, is a game. It's an energy game. It's a Project Sanctuary energy game. It's like you're saying, and you are saying this, dear energy mind, take me to a past life, blah, blah, blah. And it will. Of course it will. Every time. Every time. Real past lives, however, are rare, very rare that people remember their past lives. Even rarer that there is some kind of, after you've done an investigation on whether this person really remembered a past life or whether they just heard something somewhere. And then their energy mind went to work and made up the rest, are even rarer still. Not saying there's no such thing as past lives, not saying that, but I am saying that you should take all past life information that swirls around in your head, take it as a Project Sanctuary game, and play it accordingly. And if you do, when you do, you'll get a nice threshold shift and you will know more than you did before. Cool. Chemazier says, I connected with my aspect, bride mum aspect, very happy and joyful. Yeah, and it's so rejuvenating as well. So you're getting older to connect with those more youthful, different energies. You know, we may not say I'm a person who is uh, pretty much at the end of their menopause, um, going into that third gender phase here. But I can connect with the energy of a young mother, of a teenager, of a um, fully grown, powerful adult female, with all that that entails. I can have that energy flow through me and enliven me today and make me happy. It's the most wonderful, wonderful thing. And it has nothing to do with nostalgia. It's purely about making your energy body feel better. That's quite interesting. Good morning, Dieter. I didn't see you were here. For me, the aspects of end of 2012 came up when the aspect fell and fell in love with Sanctuary. And from that, uh, discovered Sanctuary as totally new experience of freedom, like a new world. Wonderful. Yeah. And see, this is also interesting. Now, okay, so we discover something new. And when we do, there is this huge release of energy, this huge, like old blockages have gone away, and you're feeling so much freer and lighter and happier. And then as time sort of goes on, the miracle of that kind of fades away or other things take over. And to reconnect with these original wonderful experiences, to remind yourself of this enormous gift we were given at that time, whatever it may have been. Sanctuary in your case, a new house in Alex's case, falling in love for the first time in my case, to tune back into that and to remind yourself of this magic. Connect yourself with that magic. That's just so healthy. It goes beyond being healthy. There's information in those old experiences that we have still not unlocked. None of us, none of the aspects have unlocked this. But future aspects potentially could. See what Ilka says. I was invited to work in schools with art and modern stress management. My aspects didn't know how to do it, but something cool was started. So many kids are much happier now with much better results. Okay, yeah. Sending lots and lots of love and lots of information across time and space to the aspect, who then somehow ended up knowing all that they needed to know to do a fabulous job. It's mysterious, isn't it? I do love energy work. I really do. Okay, so connecting with aspects. Here's a few ideas of what you can do with the aspects model. You may come across a problem and you don't know how to solve that. You might not be able to solve that, but perhaps an aspect can. We can have a look around the room, as it were, and say, was there ever an aspect? Do I have an aspect who knows how to solve this problem? Or how would this aspect have solved the problem? That successful aspect from 15 years ago. How would they have looked at that? What would they have said about it? Or we can get a little bit more mysterious and ask any future aspects. Aspects from the future. Because in the energy world, there really is no time or space. So, yeah, I can't get too deep into this because this is obviously public broadcast and we may have younglings on board. But I really just wanted to impart those basic ideas that you are only here and now. Everybody else is an aspect. If you here and now can start to be kinder to your aspect, more understanding, more heroic, more loving, more forgiving, then there is a chance that your future aspects will treat you likewise with love and compassion and support and information. If you have aspects on your timeline that confuse you or that hold opposing points of view or want to vote for different political parties and now you're just going crazy because you can't figure out what on earth is going on with you, to have a check on the modern energy chart. How stressed were those aspects? Were they stressed? Were they very stressed? Were they insane with stress? Or were they a little bit happy, or quite happy, or very happy, or ecstatically happy? This helps you sort out in your mind how different, different standpoints in the same person come into being. How a person can be a really good parent one minute and a really bad parent another minute. Where a person can be really attractive one moment and feel really ugly the next. Where a person can think that they're super smart and intelligent one minute. Chances are they probably were at that time. And really stupid and make terrible decisions at another moment. The aspect model allows us to be human beings, real human beings who go up and down, and as they go through life, as they respond to their own challenges. It gives us a way to reconnect with aspects across time and space and not self-mutilate ourselves, literally. It takes away that burden of the total responsibility for your entire incarnation, from the cradle to the grave and beyond. That in the past, these poor people who only had the I had to have. You take that huge responsibility of running an entire life and beyond, and you distribute it amongst your aspects. And all of a sudden, it doesn't become so hard anymore. We are not so alone anymore. And that's just the beginning. There's so much more you can do with the aspects model. So I'm going to invite you for a little aspects mini meditation, the blessing of the aspects. And I'd love you to join me in the heart position. Just point to the place where you say, this is me. Place the center of your palm over that place. Other hand on top. Let's just take a deep breath in and out. And I would like you to be I for a moment. I, here and now. I'm here and now. Right here and now, in my physical body. Tap your feet on the floor. Just so you are aware of the fact that you are here and now. You're like a spaceship traveling through space and time. Now that we are established, we are, in fact, here and now, and I am I and you are you. You are an I also. We are going to rise up, high up above our current life. So that we can see all the aspects from a really high and clear vantage point. All the aspects. All the aspects. You might visualize this like a galaxy swirling. Above you, or you can rise through it. Look down and see it beneath you. Either which way. Here are all the aspects together, forming this astonishing being that is you. That's the true you. From the moment of conception where a new star flared into existence, to the moment of ascendancy, where the star moves up to the next level. Everything that lies between those points, that is you. All the aspects together. And if there's one thing every aspect needs, it's more love. There is no aspect that does not need more love. Just be aware right now. That the entirety of the multiverse is an ocean of love. An ocean of love that protects and holds and nourishes all the aspects. That protects and nourishes and holds you from before time began. Now, all the nows to come, and for forever. Very good. Excellent. I'd like you to just gently come back to the here and now and be the I for now, and bring back that sense of love. Just open up the heart position here and let that sparkling love from all the aspects flow out to all the people in the world, all of whom need more love, more logic, more clarity, more happiness. Ooh, I wish that with all my heart. Ah, all right, my friends. So that was Who Am I? With the aspects model. The aspects model is truly a gift that keeps on giving. And I am, I'm eternally grateful to the aspect who formulated it in that way to make it possible to think about ourselves, our future aspects, our past aspects in a much more loving and positive way. And from the energy standpoint, to make much better energy connections in this enormous energy system that is around us, that is with us, that is really at the core and center and heart of us. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. And you will find as your time moves on that you'll find more and more amazing uses for the aspects model, that you find it helpful under so many circumstances and situations. And it really is a much more productive way to not only think about yourself, but other people have aspects too. Right, on that happy note, I'm going to love you and leave you today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Absolutely loved this. And I am, really looking forward to finding out where our journey is going to take us next. I am currently really enjoying the master classes. Just started tapping into Star Matrix Masterclass, and it's really wonderful to work at that level for a change. I love making introductions for new people to the simple, basic principles of what we do in modern energy. But at the heart of me, I am an adventurer, I'm an explorer, and I really do want to find out what else there is before I move to the next level. Lots and lots of love to you, everyone, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again for next week's Energy Show, Sunday Live with Sylvia. Lots of love, and bye for now.